Okay, so when we're on,
We
will
we
you
are
give
on now. They can hear
we're
you.
on? Okay, will you give me some hints if somebody joins?
I have some background.
I hear the background.
Yeah. Hey everybody, welcome to YouTube Live, and I'm just learning, so give me a second to get these preferences right. Does that help? There we go.
Yes.
All right. Let's do this. Hello, people. Welcome to my first YouTube Live. I hope this is working for you. If you're out there, say something in the chat so I can see that you're out there and we know that we are going live to the world. I'm Larry Ryan, host of 515 The Ultra Podcast. This is my first YouTube Live for having a guest back, and we're calling them catch ups. So, without further ado, I want to bring in my guest. My guest is here from Roland, Arkansas, and this is Amy Jo Jenkins. Hi, Amy.
Hi, Larry. Hi, everyone.
Amy was my guest in season 4 on episode 2 when she was the Ultraman Florida athlete and profile. And being on the eve of the next Ultraman Florida, I thought this was the perfect time to bring back Amy Jo and do a catch up and see what's happened to her in the years that have gone by since. So, Amy Jo, welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you for having me, Larry.
All right. I want to do the catch up by going through kind of some of the things that we had talked about previously. First thing I got to find out is, are you still a streaker?
I am still a Little Rock Marathon streaker. We are embracing the 23rd running of the Little Rock Marathon in 2 weeks, and there are 7 streakers left. I am the only female of the group. Um, I was talking to Larry earlier. I told him I have a lot of brothers who love me, but also want to see me fail. We're getting a little competitive with who can be the last person standing.
Yeah. And for people that might not have heard the episode before, what does it mean to be a streaker?
So, a streaker is that you have done the 26.2 mile race every year since the start of the Little Rock Marathon. So, like I said, it's been ongoing for 22 years and 23 years in 2 weeks.
That's awesome. That is incredible. A couple other things I want to catch up on from our previous chat. Have you had a chance to meet the former president yet?
I've not. No chance.
For people that have listened to the episode, they'll understand that one where people would come up to you and say, just because you're from Arkansas, they want to know if you know Bill Clinton.
That's right. We don't know the Clintons.
So, in the time since you were the athlete in profile, you did go and run at Ultraman, Florida. Let's hear about that race. How did it go for you?
Yeah, so Ultraman Florida ended up being one of the best experiences of my life. And I'll just go through the race a bit if that would be interesting.
Yes, please.
Um, so when I talked with you last time, I was 100% rookie with a 100% rookie crew. And up until the time I spoke with you, I hadn't thought too much about what was going on. And then kind of after we talked, I was like, holy smokes, this is getting real. I better start actually thinking about this. Now I've been training and everything, but not, I don't know, I guess I just really haven't thought about it. But I did form my crew. We did go to Florida. We were excited. I did the swim. It was a disaster. I fully underestimated how hard it was going to be to swim 10 kilometers or 6.2 miles,
Yeah.
um, which was a surprise to me because I don't usually have any trouble in the swim, but it was hard. I took me almost 5 hours. I did squeak in under 5 hours.
That's great.
And but the wind kicked up, the waves got tall, the current was insane. I kind of couldn't stay with my kayak. I don't think I got fed for 3 of those 5 hours I was out there. So
Oh
when I
no.
came to shore, I was in rare form. But I really just wanted some food. So that was my first goal was to get some food.
Right.
But I couldn't think of anything better at that point than to get on my bicycle, because I was absolutely done with being in the water. So I was delighted to get on my bicycle. I was also delighted that I didn't have to wear sleeves or a bunch of cold weather gear because I'd been training in the cold weather. One of my crew members let me know I was going to be able to ride with short sleeves, and I was delighted with that prospect. So I managed, despite how bad I felt, to get on the bike and start pedaling. And I was angry because I didn't have enough food. So I was kind of angry at everything. So I just started hammering down the road. Um, did well that day, ended up bouncing back, had a great bike ride, and came into the finish line just over 11 hours later, and was quite pleased, quite happy, and excited that I had made it to go on to day two.
Oh, that's great.
And yeah, and so day two, for those of you who don't know, is only a bike ride, about 171 miles of a bike ride. And but I like to ride, and it was just a good day. My crew and I worked well together. I was having a little bit of saddle issues towards the end. Jen McVeigh throws in some crazy monster hills in the end, and that was not making me or anybody else very happy. But
Right.
it was hard, and in all of the things, and I experienced the highs and lows of a day that long. But again, I came into the finish line. I couldn't contain my emotion because I was so excited that I was actually going to get to go on to day three. Um, I
Hmm.
don't know, for some reason I just had this fear that I wasn't going to get to go on, and so I barely could stand up. I was just sobbing of it, mostly of happiness because I was going to get to go on. And I was super excited on day three. So day three is a double marathon. So
Which, if I remember correctly, you had never run before, and you were actually
that's
quite
right.
fearful of.
I was fearful, but by that point, I was super excited to give it a try. Throughout my training, I learned how to run far. I learned to slow down, and I learned to enjoy it. And I was ready. I just was excited to be able to give it a try.
Mm.
Um, I sought, at your urging, Larry, some advice from other people. And so one of these Little Rock Marathon streakers is also a very accomplished ultra runner.
Hmm.
And we were at a race, and the start was delayed because of weather. And so there we are sitting in the tent, and I'm like, okay, this is my chance to ask. I'm usually pretty shy about stuff like that. And I'm um, so my question, because I was so overwhelmed because I had never finished a marathon exactly feeling like I wanted to take another step. And here I am trying to do a double marathon after
Right.
all that biking. And he's all simple. He's like, here's the way I look at it. He's like, when I get up that day, the only thing I have to do is run. And he's like, and you like to run? Like, what could be a better day than that? And so I was like, okay, okay. So that's been my approach ever since.
Oh,
On
great.
on the big run days, it's like that's the only thing I have to do. In fact, in an Ultraman, I get fed and watered and everything. Like I literally have to run. So I was excited to give it a run. And for the first 13 or 14 miles, I was doing great. And then something happened to my hamstring.
Uh-oh.
To this day, still don't know what it was. Stress, overuse, I have no idea. But there I was sitting on the side of the road, watching everybody pass me until I was in last place. Just trying to figure out how to move forward. I said some not so nice things to my crew. I was incredibly grouchy. And um, I just kept saying out loud, I'm like, there's only one acceptable outcome here, and that is me crossing the finish line. And I was like, don't tell me I tried hard or I'm doing well or this, that, and the other. I'm like, there's only one option here that we're gonna have, and that's finishing.
Nice.
Anyhow, I'm surprised they still speak to me after that couple of hours there. But anyhow, I had a physician and a physical therapist on my crew. So they rigged up some sort of compression thing
Hmm.
that kept my hamstring from moving, and I was able to continue on. Um, Slow, but able to continue
Oh,
on.
great.
And so when I hit mile 38, 39, I was in uncharted territory because I had never run that far before. And I was happy drunk, is the way I like to describe it. I knew what was going on, but I could not control what was coming out of my mouth, but I was blissfully happy. Um,
That's nice.
the crew member that was running with me at the time, she would ask me, what do you want to eat at the next mile? And she's like, I'm going to call ahead so the next person that's going to run with you will know exactly what to give you. And we did this like 16 times, and
Right.
I'm like, what do we have? And she started going down the list again. She's like, for the 16th time, we have potato chips and oranges and M&Ms and grapes and gummy bears. And I'm like, gummy bears? Well, when did we get those? And she just like had a look on her face, like, I can not take you anymore. Um, and so I'm going somewhere with this story because it makes people laugh. It resulted in a tattoo because it's so
Oh,
memorable. And so she looks at me and she's like, yes, we have gummy bears. Is that what you would like next? And I was like, oh, yes, definitely. And so she calls ahead and I'm like, but wait a minute, wait. I will only eat the blue gummy bears. And she gives me
what do
this
you think? You're a
look.
rock star?
Well, she just gave me this look that she never wanted to see from anyone. And she's like, now come on, you know what the bag looks like. It's the big bag we bought at Walmart. It has like all the flavors in it. And I can assure you they're all equally delicious. And I'm like, I will not eat them. I will only eat the blue ones. And she calls ahead and I hear expletives like coming out of the cell phone. I don't know
Oh,
who she
yeah.
was talking to. She was talking to my husband or some of the other crew members. And so my glorious crew fished all the blue gummy bears out of the multicolored gummy bear bag.
Yeah.
Of course, when I bought them, I wasn't nearly as interested in them anymore, but they were good for a few of them. But therein, I do now have a blue gummy bear tattoo in memory of the race, and their service to me in fishing the blue gummy bears out of the bag. They said that wasn't the hardest part of the race, but I could hear them all on the other end. They weren't very happy with me. But we did make it to the finish. It was glorious. It was fun. And then I didn't walk for several days because
Yeah.
everything hurt.
Yeah. Of course. Not just the hamstring at that point.
Yeah, there's a lot more going on, but it
Yeah.
was great and it was a wonderful experience.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's really good. Um, and so where's your tattoo?
It's on my leg,
On your leg.
on my left leg, yes.
Okay.
Um,
So
a
can you see
blue
it when
gummy
you're running?
bear with you can see it when I'm running.
All
Blue
right.
gummy bear with some orange blossoms in memory of Florida.
Oh, that's great. Instead of the cramping man.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Well, Amy Jo, we got a couple of people on here with us. I don't know if you saw, I popped up your brother a little bit earlier here. I'll throw that back up again for you so you can see
Hi,
that.
Matthew. Hi, Mom.
Thanks for joining us, Mom. And we also have another one here from your Arizona race.
Yeah, that's Emily. Emily was my crew member. She is my crew member. She sticks by me in a lot of things. She also gives the best battle braids of anyone I know.
Oh, that okay. So that's multi-talented. That's the kind of people you
Yes,
need on your
he is.
crew.
He is.
Well, if anybody else that's watching wants to make a comment, let us know where you're from, where you're watching from, how you know Amy, how you know the podcast. Please join in with us. We're happy to have the comments come in. This is part of the reason why I want to do these is to bring the ultra community, the ultra fam together in a place where we can have a little bit of fun and highlight some stories back and forth. Um, when we were talking previously, as to continue on with the catching up part of this, you had mentioned that you had met your husband Jeff out on a bike ride where he had forgotten to bring water with him.
Right.
Did he remember to bring all the supplies for the race?
He did. Jeff is a saint when it comes to crewing. So Jeff has served as my crew chief in Florida and in Ultraman, Arizona. And he also served as my paddler in Ultraman, Arizona, because I was adamant that we were not going to have a repeat of Ultraman Florida. He was not my paddler in Florida, but yes. So he cares for me during the race. He also cares for me while I'm training, delivering food and water wherever I am, especially on my bike.
Yeah. And he also does triathlon. So has
He
he got
does.
an itch to try an Ultraman?
I don't think he does. If he's on here and I'm speaking incorrectly, please chime in, Jeff. No, Jeff, Jeff, however, has taken an interest in ultra running since all of this, and he
Okay.
did his first 50-mile race last year, and won the Grand Masters division of his 50-mile race.
Oh, that's
We're
excellent.
super. We didn't know. We he got like a check in the mail a few weeks later. We're like, what is this?
Those are the best
Yeah, and
kind.
so yeah,
It's like
and
finding
so
that $50 bill in your ski jacket the year later.
it is. So he received it and he's registered again to do it this year. So
Oh, good.
uh, see if he can defend his title. But yes, he's taken a big interest in ultra running since I started doing the Ultramans.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And you have you got into the ultra running? You had a fear of running the distance before. Have you also then been taking on some more ultra runs?
I have. The fear is still there, but the joy is bigger than the fear. So after Ultraman Florida, I later in the year did a 50-mile race, just a run race.
Hmm.
It was interesting to run and only count 50 or something. That was good on the brain compared to whatever I've counting 321 or something. I count. That's how I break things into pieces. And counting 50 or something was glorious. Yeah, so I did that. And then in the fall of last year, I got an itch to try a 100-mile run. And so I was
Oh,
training most of
wow.
the year to try to do that. And unfortunately, around mile 9 of that run, I just misstepped on the trail and jarred my hip.
Oh, no.
Um, my gut sank, but I tried to prevail, thinking that it would just go away. And so I ran another 47 miles with that injury. But by the time I reached that aid station, I knew I was done, and I wasn't going to make the cutoff for the next aid station, so I had to drop out. But I am going to try again at the beginning of April at the Viper 200, but I'm only going to do the 100-mile part of that in Memphis, Tennessee.
Tennessee. Oh, okay. That's not too far away and yeah, so easy road trip for you.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like we have another one of your friends tuning in possibly here. We got Yendel Jones.
Oh, Yandel.
Oh,
Yes.
Yendel.
I work
Okay.
with Yandel. Yes. She's she works in my area at work.
Oh, excellent. And are you still in the same job you were working for the university for cancer research, I believe it was?
Yes, I am in the same job. And we are still on the path to seek our National Cancer Institute designation. Um, Seeking that designation is not a marathon like some people say. I think it's more like an Ultraman. It takes a very long time to do and has a gazillion moving parts. And it definitely takes a village to be able to get there.
Oh yeah.
Yandel, who's on the phone, is part of our community outreach and engagement team.
Oh, that's great. Well, you got the support both at work, on the podcast, at your races. It's a good fam you got around you too.
Yes. Any success I have is because of other people's support.
Mm. Well, I know during the podcast you also said that you were working on some pretty big stuff at the university. I said, "Oh, is there anything you can tell us about? You're going to make any breakthroughs?" And you promised that there would be something we'd hear about. But is that still in the pipeline? Because you were like, "Oh, it's patent pending" or something like that, and you wouldn't speak of
It
it.
is. It's still in the pipeline. These things take a while. But
Yeah.
whenever it's ready, I'll be sure to let you know. I'm sure all your listeners will be thrilled.
That's good. That's good. So you went on and did Arizona, as we said, as well. Um, and this year, I understand you've signed up to go to Hawaii. Are you excited about going to Hawaii and doing that one?
I am. Never in a gazillion years thought that I would get to race in Hawaii. Um, I wrote when I was in Ultraman, Arizona last year, I was the only female who had never been to Kona, I think. Everyone was just talking about this, that, and the other, and I
Uh,
was just like, no, it's okay. Not my thing. I don't know. It just the door never opened for me to go after over 20 more than 20 years of racing. Just wouldn't happen.
right.
And then here we are now discovering a path there through Ultraman that I never even knew existed when I started my triathlon career. And yes, I got my acceptance last week that
That's awesome.
I'm able to race at the World Championship in Hawaii.
Well, you better start looking for accommodations now.
Okay, I will do it. You give good advice, so anything you say, do.
And get a local paddler.
A local paddler. Okay.
Yes.
Dang. I have been pressuring Jeff that he needed to paddle for me, and he has been adamant that I get a local paddler. And now you're supporting him.
I definitely
Okay.
support you, Jeff.
All right.
In Hawaii, the local paddler will save you miles of swimming.
Okay. Local paddler it is.
Yes. Um, what do you think, like now that you've gone through two of these, when you were coming in, you had different fears and things like that. What would you tell someone else that was in your situation who's a rookie now coming up now that you've got, two under your belt? What were what's some of the best advice that you heard from other people or maybe heard on my podcast? That would be great too. And what advice would you give to a rookie who is in your same situation where they're just fearful of, I don't know if I'm worthy of doing this or if I can do this and I've never run a double marathon? How do you tell them that it's going to be okay?
I did get the best advice from someone on your podcast, and I wish I could remember who it was. You were talking with someone and they were discussing with you about a race they were doing that was much longer than an Ultraman and that they had to swim in the dark. And I remember they were not a strong swimmer and they certainly did not want to swim in the dark. And, and he said, all I had to do was get in the water and start swimming. He's like, that was the only thing that was required of me. And so if I were to give a rookie advice, it would be just get out there and do what you know how to do.
Mm,
Um, when you meet the Ohana at the race that you go to, all of that pressure and all of that I'm not good enough or I'm fearful of this and that. I promise you it'll go away before the race even starts because everybody is there to support you and to love you and to be amazed by you. And you can be amazed at what you're doing too. So one thing that motivated me on the run in the race is that every mile I went beyond what I had gone before, I was just amazed. I was
Yeah.
like, would you look at this? 39, 40, 41, 42. And like who knew I would like it so much. That is now my favorite distance to run. But yeah, I would say just do what's required of you. You know how to do it. There are no expectations other than that you do it.
Yeah.
And and it's fun.
Yeah. Excellent. Great advice. It is that way for everybody. And as you said, I think that the Ohana will envelop you from the days before, like all this week. I'm sure the people in Florida, they were getting together at a coffee shop or going to go out on the course together or going for a swim together, and you get to know each other and you get to know the crews, and by the time you go to registration you've already got three new friends or four new friends, and it just keeps growing over the entire weekend, and that's absolutely true for sure.
Yes, yes.
And I got to say hi to one more person who's tuned in. You might recognize this name coming up on
Oh
the
yes, there
screen.
he is. He was driving and listening.
So Jeff, you now have the clearance of not having to do the the paddling in Hawaii.
He'll be thrilled,
Yeah, that's great.
certain of it.
Well, one more thing that I wanted to catch up with you on, and that is toward the end of our conversation, we had talked about things that you still wanted to learn and things that you still wanted to do. And you had said that you wanted to learn how to crochet or knit and that people at work were doing that. Have you had the opportunity yet?
I haven't because I've been doing all of this Ultraman stuff. But they're still there and they were knitting yesterday. And so one of these days I'll go and join them.
Great. That's great. Well, Amy Jo, thank you so much for joining me on this first 5:15 catch up. It's great to see you again. I hope that some of the people that are out in Florida right now that are, feeling those butterflies from getting ready to go tomorrow, they're probably still repacking the crew van for the third time, figuring out where to put stuff right now, or watching some stupid stuff on videos so that they can let their mind wander a bit. But good luck to everybody in Florida who's going to be out there competing and crewing and working and volunteering. I know the Ohana is strong in Florida. It's going to be a big race. It's going to be a good race. So for all you guys out there, good luck. I'm sure maybe you want to pass on your same.
Yes, most definitely. Good luck and have fun. My goodness. Um, I'm sure you'll see costumes alongside the road. You're going to see all kinds of things. Have fun, enjoy it, and soak it all in.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me on this catch up. It will live here on the 515 YouTube channel. So if you're watching this in replay, thanks for checking us out on replay. And if you were with us live, I thank you too. And we'll be doing more of these in the future. So watch the Facebook feed for when they're coming up. And join us on one of these because I do want it to be about community. I want the fam to come together and, send a few messages back and forth, and hopefully we can make this a thing when we do our catch ups. So, Amy Jo, thank you for joining me from your town just outside of Little Rock, Arkansas. Hopefully, one of these days you'll come across the Clintons and get a chance to say hi. And good luck in Hawaii. I'll be following that race for sure. And we'll see how you do there.
All right. Thank you, Larry, for all you've done for me and for what you do for this community.
Great. Thank you.
Bye bye.